Splat! Xiao Yin quickly retreated, his feet lightly tapping on the surface of the spirit sea. He stared at the abyss in the center of the sea, a bottomless chasm stretching tens of thousands of feet deep. A shiver ran down his spine as a wave of unease swept over him. Ling Zishi? Moments later, from the vortex-like chasm in the spirit sea, figures emerged. Among them were Ling Zishi and other prodigies from ancient clans, but they looked battered, as if thrown out forcefully. Seeing this, Xiao Yan's speed surged, and he leapt forward, catching Ling Zishi mid-air. Xiao Yan, run! There's a terrifyingly strong magical beast down below. Ling Zishi gasped weakly, blood trickling from the corner of her lips. Her pale complexion betrayed the severity of her injuries. What happened? Xiao Yan scanned the scene again. It wasn't just the Ling clan. Prodigies from other ancient clans like the Lei clan and the Shi clan were also being thrown out in a miserable state. Only Han Mu and Yao Yichen were nowhere to be seen. Yin Xian and Shen Hong used the guise of joining forces with a large group to deal with you. But it seems they discovered some immense treasure deep within the spirit sea. The two of them schemed to enrage the guardian beast ahead of time. Ling Zishi, her breath recovering slightly, spoke in a low voice. Boom, boom, boom. Before she finished her sentence, hundreds of figures surged out of the spirit sea vortex, and massive waves swept outward uncontrollably. From within the vortex, a colossal figure emerged, riding the towering waves. Rumble. The monstrous being let out a furious roar. Its body, enveloped in cascading water, cast an enormous shadow over half the spirit sea. A vast and violent aura spread outward, causing countless experts to tense with dread as a wave of death loomed over them. What kind of creature is this? Xiao Yin, bearing the immense pressure of the creature's presence, locked his gaze onto the massive being and exclaimed in shock. Roar! The beast paid no attention to the doubts of Xiao Yin and the others. Waves churned again, and the surface of the spirit sea boiled like molten lava, writhing with each surge. Every movement emitted an overwhelming sense of unease. This aura, it seems to surpass the usual strength of a late-stage 8-star Do Xian. Yin Xian and Shen Hong, those two bastards. Watching the scene unfold, Shi Wushuang and Lei Luoqing exchanged glances filled with seething hatred. Their original plan was to capture Xiao Yin and gather medicinal ingredients from the spirit sea. If not for Yin Xian and Shen Hong's sudden change of plans, how could things have escalated to this point? Ha, what a monster! It's none other than the Icefire evil dragon, known for its ferocity. Xiao Yin couldn't help but exclaim as the waters surrounding the colossal being's body gradually receded. He looked up, seeing its two massive heads swaying. One was shrouded in unending flames, while the other emitted a freezing cold mist. The creature's massive body was covered in thick, bluish-brown dragon scales, seamlessly merging fire and ice into a terrifyingly impenetrable defense. Its sharp claws gleamed like deadly blades, capable of shredding any weapon. Even with just a glance, Xiao Yin could sense an awe-inspiring energy radiating from the creature. Its power surpassed that of the late-stage 8-star Do Xian experts from the ancient clans, and it was a dragon-type beast to boot. Crash! A towering wall of seawater suddenly inverted and poured down from the skies, crashing towards the battered group below. The sheer ferocity of the attack caused even the surrounding space to tremble violently. Cough! Just as the wall of water was about to strike, a pitch-black chain and a massive cauldron emitting a faint green glow descended from the sky. Two figures, their auras weakened, stood amidst the defensive barrier. These two are no pushovers. Xiao Yan's expression grew grim as he watched Yao Yichen and Han Mu combine their strength to deflect the Icefire evil dragon's attack. Brother, are you okay? As soon as the attack was blocked, the two collapsed from exhaustion. The group below quickly rushed to catch them. Yao Yishuan, her voice choked with emotion, called out anxiously, We're fine. But this creature is far too powerful. Even with all our strength, we couldn't drive it back, Yao Yichen replied, slowly closing his eyes, a look of guilt on his face. Yao Yichen had entered the grand ceremony with the confidence of assured victory. However, Xiaoyan's repeated displays of strength, coupled with his sister Yao Yishuan's advice, had gradually softened his competitive spirit. Ultimately, he willingly teamed up with Hunmu to cover the retreat of numerous alchemists from the Spirit Sea. Without their efforts, the weaker alchemists would have perished long ago. Xiaoyan, Hunmu, have never admired anyone in my life. You are the first. Therefore, beside him. Hunmu forced himself upright, his gaze shifting between the Icefire, Evil Dragon, and Xiaoyan. If you have any last words, better save them for discussing alchemy, Xiaoyan said with a helpless shake of his head. Immediately, amber-colored flames surged around his body, forming a fiery vortex that shielded everyone. For some reason, Xiaoyan couldn't shake the feeling that the people of the Soul Clan and those from the Soul Hall were two completely different types of beings. That guy is very strong. I'll go with you. At this moment, the Ice Soul Evil Dragon exuded an overwhelming aura, but Yao Yishuan, her face flushed and heart racing, spoke up. She was well aware of the danger they faced, but right now, apart from Xiaoyan, there were hardly any other combatants here. If they stayed hidden, they might all perish. Let's go. Without a second word, Xiaoyan condensed the amber flames into 2 fire clouds and carried Yao Yishuan toward the position of the Icefire Evil Dragon. The Icefire Evil Dragon has 2 heads, one of ice and one of fire. Together, they make it invincible among beings of the same level. I don't know its weaknesses. However, I can resist its fire-headed attacks for 10 seconds. During those 10 seconds, all its flames will be ineffective against you. After that, you'll have to rely on yourself. After saying this, Yao Yishuan sat atop the fire clouds, summoning her vast soul power. But the way she channeled her soul energy was unlike anything Xiaoyan had ever seen. The Icefire Evil Dragon? Just a magical beast with weak dragon blood. Xiaoyan nodded at Yao Yishuan, his eyes flashing with a trace of madness. As they got closer, the pressure they felt grew even more intense. Xiaoyan raised his head slightly and saw the Icefire Evil Dragon coiled within the abyssal vortex of the Spirit Sea. Its 2 bizarre heads poked out of the water, looking down on them with a contemptuous expression, as if they were gazing at ants. Its body was covered in brownish-green scales that exuded both ice and fire, wrapping around its entire form. A terrifying aura of shock and power emanated from it. That was its pride. The dragon race sat at the top of the spiritual food chain. Anyone with even the slightest connection to them couldn't escape the natural sense of superiority that came with it. Make your move. Xiaoyan sneered, setting up flames to protect Yao Yishuan as she summoned mysterious forces. Meanwhile, his own body was surrounded by endless chilling flames, resembling a rising sun that radiated immense brilliance. At this moment, within the Icefire Evil Dragon's disdainful gaze, something slowly clicked. It began to sense a terrifying power emanating from Xiaoyan's body. That too was the power of the dragon race, but the dragon aura within Xiaoyan was 100 times, 1,000 times stronger than its own. Roar! Provoked by this tiny human creature, the Icefire Evil Dragon let out a long, enraged roar. A surge of immense power poured into the water columns around it, and its bloodshot dragon eyes fixated on Xiaoyan, wanting to tear him apart. Ryup! Under the gaze of this massive creature, Xiaoyan felt his soul tremble as coldness rushed through him. He quickly shifted, his body moving with the lightness of a spiritual butterfly, rapidly changing positions. Crack! Just as Xiaoyan's feet left the spot, the sea below him instantly froze into an ice sculpture, an overwhelming coldness radiating from it. How dare you, little human, covet my treasure? You're courting death. Seeing Xiaoyan evade its first attack, the Icefire Evil Dragon spoke with human speech, its murderous intent pouring out. With its furious roar, the entire Spirit Sea was stirred up. Towering water columns shot up from beneath the surface, silently gathering around it. Why go to such lengths? Xiaoyan spoke calmly, smiling slightly. He was rapidly mobilizing his internal strength, aware that the pressure this creature exerted on him was extraordinary. He couldn't afford to underestimate it. Looking for death. Seeing that no one was retreating, The Icefire evil dragon's massive body suddenly submerged into the spirit sea. Countless water columns surged toward Xiao, the terrifying air currents causing the entire spirit sea to roar with ferocity. Why is this guy so violent? Logically speaking, even if Yin Xian and the others provoked it as a guardian, it shouldn't be this angry. Xiao dragon god transformation gradually took effect, and he continued resisting the relentless barrage of water columns. Xiao, be careful. This creature is immensely powerful, and its dual-element fire and water abilities are unpredictable. Watching from a distance, Hun Mu and Yao Yiqin, both injured, couldn't help but shout warnings. Their voices were hoarse. They could no longer help Xiao, as they had just been defeated by the creature's ice and fire powers. Humph! Xiao let out a cold grunt, without hesitation. With the boost from his dragon god transformation and the protection of the sacred flame, his figure shot out, the ancient ruler in tow. Gripping it tightly with both hands, he concentrated all his strength and swung it fiercely at the spirit sea below him. Boom! This time, he did not use any combat skills. Instead, relying solely on his raw power, the mighty ruler blade gleamed and, with lightning speed, effortlessly shattered the countless water columns that were attacking him. It then continued its path, shooting towards the Icefire evil dragon hidden within the spirit sea. Crash! Xiao powerful soul force had already locked onto the Icefire evil dragon, and the ruler, now engulfed in flames, struck it without deviation, hitting the dragon's body with thunderous force. Whir! The Icefire evil dragon trembled violently, feeling a searing burn from its body that left it dazed. However, its indestructible brownish dragon scales were not harmed. Only a slight indentation appeared, making no real difference. What a sturdy defense! Xiao furrowed his brow. Even with the sacred flame, he couldn't break through its defense? Roar! The Icefire evil dragon, already enraged, became even more furious. The eyes in its two heads turned bloodshot, and a bloodthirsty aura surged out. Moments later, both heads opened wide, unleashing two columns of brown and icy blue light, each carrying vastly different powers, aimed at Xiao to kill him. The two columns of light were clearly of water and fire attributes, their power overwhelming. If even a trace touched him, he would likely be obliterated instantly. Ryup! Xiao barely had time to retreat, feeling the force of the two light columns strike him, suppressing him to the point where he could not move. Whoosh whoosh! The two columns of light were like world-ending beams. Wherever they passed, the space trembled, and unlucky souls who were caught by them turned into ice statues and fire people, their tragic cries endless. Xiao, get ready. At the critical moment, Yao Yishuan's beautiful eyes flashed, and a light, ethereal voice followed by a dazzling glow emanated from her. The light was as brilliant as a rainbow, beautiful beyond words. But within it, there was a soul force like no other. It felt like a soul attack, yet with subtle differences. Got it. Formless slash. With the fire attribute power of the Icefire evil dragon no longer suppressing him, Xiao stabilized himself. He then poured an endless wave of energy into the ancient ruler. Crack! Unknown forces caused Yao Yishuan's soul power to collide with the fire column in the two beams of light. The fire column suddenly froze in midair, while the icy blue column, howling like the wind, surged towards Xiao with tremendous force. Slash! Without time to ponder Yao Yishuan's actions, Xiao roared in anger, unleashing a scorching energy wave along with a blazing fire aura toward the icy blue column. Bang, bang, bang. The fierce collision of the two attacks created a massive wave of water, and after a few breaths, the attacks dissipated, turning into countless small water columns, returning to calm. Explode! Having just neutralized the icy blue column, Xiao paid no mind to the turbulent energy within him. He clenched his fist, and endless flames swirled around it, throwing a punch toward the fire column in the sky. Whoosh whoosh! The punch shattered the flames, sending waves of searing heat that sent shockwaves through the onlookers. This human is terrifying. This is bad. We were too careless. This is the human's trick to lure the dragon away. Just as the Icefire evil dragon was preparing to use its full strength, its two heads emitted a faint glow. Its heads tilted in unison, staring intently at the bottom of the spirit sea. It seemed someone had entered there. That was the most precious place within the entire spirit sea. Nowhere to run. Sensing the Icefire evil dragon's strange reaction, Xiao coldly snorted, raising the ancient ruler. Flames swirled around him as he advanced toward the battle. Whoosh! The Icefire evil dragon didn't have time to care about Xiao, but its tough brown dragon scales were still deeply cut into by Xiaoyan's strike. A wave of pain was transmitted to its head. A group of ants, I won't spare you. Just wait. The Icefire evil dragon let out a sky-shattering roar, but it ignored Xiao. Even though its body was racked with intense pain, its expression was grim as it leaped back into the spirit sea, increasing its speed dramatically as it headed deeper within. You stay here, I'll go check it out. Xiao shifted his form, wrapping himself in flames, and leaped into the spirit sea, chasing after the Icefire evil dragon. As for the others above the spirit sea, they were left in awe. Was the Icefire evil dragon's action intentional? Ryup. As soon as he descended into the spirit sea, Xiao felt an increasing pressure. Despite the energy barrier formed by the sacred flame protecting him from the encroaching seawater, a wave of coldness seeped into his mind. It seemed as though these cold forces could ignore the sacred flame's defense and directly invade Xiaoyan's body. The temperature within the spirit sea was terrifying, and eerie light flickered around. The immense pressure in the water made Xiaoyan's speed slow down significantly. Looking downward, he saw independent spaces enveloped in light, where various medicinal herbs stood silently in different shapes. To collect them, he would have to activate their respective medicinal formulas. What exactly is down there? Is it enough to make the Icefire evil dragon act so anxiously? Also, where are Xian and Xun'er? Could the Icefire evil dragon's actions be related to them? Xiaoyan's gaze was highly vigilant as he descended, scanning the surroundings in search of anything unusual. However, after a moment, his soul power was blocked, and he could only follow the Icefire evil dragon toward the sea's bottom. Roar! Without caring for anything else, the Icefire evil dragon's speed surged as it flew toward the depths of the spirit sea. Its two heads radiated a violent aura, resembling a beast gone mad. At this moment, it was filled with extreme anger. The treasure it had guarded for thousands of years was about to be stolen, and if that happened, it would be enraged beyond measure. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the spirit sea, this must be the core area that the Icefire evil dragon protects. Xian and Xun'er exchanged glances, their powers suppressed by the swift currents around them. As they gazed down into the sea, layers of silt began to emerge. Yet, the vitality radiating from the silt suggested that there might be an extraordinary treasure hidden within. Let's go take a look. Xian and Xun'er, feeling helpless, could only encourage each other. Their aura began to rise, and they slowly made their way toward the bottom, ready to explore further. Roar! Before they could reach the silt, they suddenly felt a force pushing them aside. Moments later, a rapid, dark current erupted from the sea above, accompanied by a massive creature. Not good, retreat. In that instant, Xian and Xun'er felt a chill in their hearts. Their feet touched the void as they rapidly retreated. The terrifying power, if left unchecked, would likely place them in grave danger. Damned humans! I'll tear you apart. With a deafening roar, the Icefire evil dragon transformed into a dual-colored light pillar, wrapped in ice and fire, and shot toward the two. It surged with overwhelming power, charging like a beast entering an uninhabited land. Dragon scales? Good grief, they actually stole the Icefire evil dragon's dragon scales. No wonder it's so furious. Xiao hid in the shadows, his immense soul power cloaking his body, allowing him to remain undetected by the Icefire evil dragon. As he spotted the brown-green dragon scale in Xian's hand, he instantly understood. Dragon scales were a symbol of pride for dragonkind. Stealing or peeling off their scales was considered a grievous offense, one that dragons would never forgive. So they wanted all for themselves. Xiao Yan's gaze flicked again, and he noticed faint glimmers within the silt below. The sensation of those glimmers reminded him of his own spirit palace, with an eerie sense of similarity. Let them fight it out. It's not yet time to reveal all my cards. Xiao Yan muttered quietly to himself, choosing to observe from the sidelines. So, this beast has figured out our plan. Xun'er, stop it. I'll try using its dragon scales to get closer to the treasure. If successful, we'll each take half. Yin Xian snorted coldly, his speed skyrocketing as he gripped the dragon scale tightly and moved toward the silt, intending to claim the treasure. With the protection of the dragon scale, the repulsive force was significantly reduced, and Yin Xian couldn't help but feel overjoyed. He fully activated the dragon scale's power along with his own strength. Mystic Serpent's Fangs. Seeing this, although Xun'er felt quite frustrated, he knew that they could only force their way through the Icefire evil dragon's assault. The two had conspired together to seize the treasure for themselves, provoking other competitors. If they failed, their outcome would surely be catastrophic. The moment the words left his mouth, scorching flames erupted around him. A ferocious fire serpent materialized at the sea's bottom, its massive form snaking through the water under Xun'er's control. Crack! Although Xun'er was no slouch in terms of strength, how could the Icefire evil dragon be considered an easy opponent? To make matters worse, the two of them were the main culprits who had angered the Icefire evil dragon. Xun'er's attack was easily shattered by the dragon, and its subsequent strike, like a thunderous torrent, unleashed once again. The ferocious killing intent and fury made Xun'er's heart skip a beat. If this continued, they were likely doomed. Light shield. At that moment, Xun'er could sense the impending approach of death. His eyes grew serious, and his finger moved, causing a storage ring to stir. A white goatskin scroll appeared, etched with countless mysterious and profound symbols, clearly crafted by a powerful expert. However, there was no time for hesitation. His fingers twitched, and in an instant, he tore the scroll open. Boom! As the ancient scroll was unleashed, a sacred and inviolable aura of light flooded the entire ocean floor. The dazzling holy light enveloped Xun'er, making him impervious to both water and fire, causing the Icefire evil dragon's attacks to lose their target for the time being. Light-type one-time battle skill scroll? Xiao Yan murmured, noticing the situation. For some reason, Xiao Yan couldn't shake the feeling that Xun'er's relationship with the Holy Sea was far from ordinary. After a brief moment, Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes and followed his gaze towards Yin Xian, only to find that Yin Xian had suddenly stopped moving, seemingly wary and hesitant about something. Yin Xian, are you done yet? This beast is comparable to a human 8-star Do Xian in the late stages, and I can't stop it. After unleashing such a mysterious strike, Xun'er's body twitched again, unleashing a series of powerful attacks, but none seemed to harm the Icefire evil dragon significantly. Unable to hold back, he roared at Yin Xian below. Creatures like the Icefire evil dragon, both in terms of combat power and intelligence, far exceeded humans of the same level. Their actions were no different from suicide. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yin Xian paid no attention to Xun'er's words. He could only feel that the closer he got to the colorless, transparent sludge, the more rapidly his strength drained away. A chilling aura surged through his heart. You all must die. The light shield gradually faded, and the Icefire evil dragon's massive body shook. Its two heads raised high, and the eyes within both flashed with an eerie power as a torrent of energy began to form. An overwhelming fury surged from the two heads, and the dazzling, dual-colored energies of water and fire became increasingly violent, evoking a bloodthirsty, terrifying expression. It seemed that with this attack, the entire world would dim in comparison. Boom, boom, boom. Within the watery screen, the immense body of the Icefire evil dragon directly imprisoned the entire space beneath the sea, preventing the two from escaping. Its body slightly lifted, and the blood-red energy on its two heads glowed with a strange radiance. Moments later, A smaller Icefire dragon formed in front of its chest, gathering immense power, shaking the entire ocean floor. Though the Icefire dragon was small in size, anyone could feel the terrifying aura emanating from it. Such a powerful attack was clearly the Icefire evil dragon's ultimate form, a fusion of ice and fire power. With their strength, resistance was impossible. This is bad. Seeing this, Xun'er's expression grew more solemn than ever before. His fists clenched, and even some obscure forces in his storage ring began to stir. Forget it. I'm here only to claim the title of the continent's top alchemist. There's no need to die for a treasure. Yin Xian, you can keep this treasure for yourself? Xun'er's face darkened. A scroll appeared once again, and with a swift motion, he crushed it. His body was instantly enveloped by the scroll, vanishing from the scene. Light-type spatial transfer scroll, Xiao exclaimed, recognizing the item. This is something only high-ranking members of the Holy See can possess. This guy's true identity is unclear. It looks like I need to watch him closely. Xun'er. CS sect. Damned bastard. At that moment, Yin Xian roared in frustration. He had been on the verge of claiming the treasure, yet Xun'er had chosen to abandon it out of fear of death. Perish under my divine might, ants. Icefire Dragon Pillar. With a deafening roar, the Icefire evil dragon released its rage, and immediately, the sea below was filled with violent energy. Towering waves surged, and deep grunts echoed throughout the cavern. Surrounded by pure Icefire energy, the miniature dragon figure leaped and pounced towards Yin Xian below. Everywhere it passed, the space cracked apart, and the overwhelming power caused the energies of the world to lose their effect. Immortal flame, immortal body. Sensing death approaching, Yin Xian held his breath, his eyes closing as his blood boiled. The body of a Dou Emperor. It's really been such a long time. Xiao shook his head. No matter how talented Yin Xian was, at the peak of 8-star Dou Xian, under the wrathful strike of the Icefire evil dragon, even if he didn't die, he would likely be severely injured. Boom. The fiery red Dou Emperor's body was extremely solid, its level probably reaching the 9th grade. With Yin Xian's flames, which surpassed even the great heaven species level, and the power only second to the sacred flame, the entire Dou Emperor's body shone with brilliance. Annihilate! The Icefire evil dragon, full of arrogance, snorted coldly. Immediately, the two heads emitted an overwhelming aura, as if commanding the fate of all. Crack! The Dou Emperor's body instantly shattered, and countless fragments formed a blazing sun that illuminated the entire seabed. Yin Xian's chest also suffered severe internal injuries, his blood surging violently, as though threatening to obliterate him at any moment. Whoosh! With a loud sound, Yin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood. The temperature above the blazing sun increased dramatically, his body once again stirred, and in the moment of the Icefire evil dragon's disdain, he managed to escape through a nearby crack. Roar, roar, roar. Seeing the two culprits escape his attack one after another, the Icefire evil dragon couldn't help but roar in fury. They had originally stolen the dragon scales from his body and then used a strategy to lure him away, trying to covet the treasure he had guarded for thousands of years, and yet they managed to escape? Endless fury and killing intent erupted, turning this place into a truly horrifying underwater scene. No wonder he's the pride of an ancient race. Xiao, watching from afar, couldn't help but shake his head. He had originally thought these two would die under the claws of the Icefire evil dragon, but he had underestimated their strength. Boom! In the underwater world, the Icefire evil dragon roared wildly, releasing its long-suppressed fury, and the many powerful figures watching from the outside felt their vision blur, especially Patriarch Yin Yun and Elder Shun Shi. Why all the noise, big guy? While the Icefire evil dragon was roaring, Xiao leisurely walked out from a hidden void in the seabed. Human kid? You dare to come after me? Use your life to calm my rage. At this moment, the Icefire evil dragon was filled with hatred, wanting to rip apart all humans. When Xiao appeared before it, it immediately sneered. Roar, roar, roar. With no other hindrance, Xiaoyan's body subtly shifted, activating the Dragon God transformation. A roar, filled with the terrifying pressure of a true dragon, erupted like the wrath of a god, sweeping through the area. Dragon's might? You, a human. How is this possible? At this moment, the Icefire evil dragon's rage was temporarily suppressed, and it calmed down. The power within the dragon's roar was enough to pacify its already impure dragon blood. Whoosh! The Icefire demon dragon pillar ceased moving, gently bowing down like a servant, not daring to act recklessly. Dragon God transformation, fourth change, half-dragon transformation. Seeing the Icefire evil dragon's stunned gaze, Xiaoyan's eyes flickered slightly, then he smiled. Crack, crack. A cyan halo slowly enveloped, accompanied by Xiaoyan's lingering dragon's roar, making the scene extremely shocking. Baxia Dragon King. The Icefire evil dragon bows to the Baxia Dragon King's majesty. In this moment, everything became quiet. The Icefire evil dragon lowered both of its heads and respectfully spoke to Xiaoyan. Whether Xiaoyan was human or dragon, the true Baxia mark on his body was enough to easily crush it. At this moment, the Icefire evil dragon no longer dared to resist and humbly knelt beside Xiaoyan. Rise. I've come from the Dragon Clan to explore the great thousand worlds. You, young one, should cultivate well. In time, you may have a faint chance to enter the Dragon Clan. The treasures below are useful to me. You may leave. Xiaoyan bent slightly, leaning back as his ancient voice, infused with the Baxia power of the half-dragon transformation, swept out, never once looking directly at the Icefire evil dragon. Yes. Hearing this, the Icefire evil dragon quickly withdrew the surrounding restrictions and fled in a dismal manner, still trembling with fear. The Baxia Dragon King was one of the 9 kings of the Dragon Clan, each one a being at the reincarnation stage. Even in its injured state, its power was not something the Icefire evil dragon could resist. After Xiaoyan made his move, the Icefire evil dragon fled far away, not daring to act recklessly. Now, what exactly is down there? Xiaoyan was amazed at how powerful the half-dragon transformation in dragon's might were, having such an overwhelming effect on dragon-type magical beasts. He couldn't help but laugh. However, what just happened was all a fabrication by Xiaoyan. He wasn't aware of the current situation within the Dragon Clan. Soul power. Gurgle, gurgle. As Xiaoyan's soul power surged, the mass of sludge emitted a dazzling power, one that resonated violently with the spirit palace within him. Is that sacred aura? Is that sacred aura? Xiaoyan, sitting at the bottom of the sea, was still several dozen meters away from the sludge below, but his soul power had already detected the treasure within. Unexpectedly, its sacred aura. With this and the scroll of the 8th grade sacred class pill recipe in my hands, it seems that this Xiao clan grand ceremony is truly a blessing from the heavens. Xiaoyan couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. The 8th grade sacred class pill recipe was, at best, a sacred tier pill formula, just at the entry level, and not even considered a true 8th grade sacred class, much less a higher tier. Sacred aura, the essential element for refining sacred grade pills, could only be found in places with abundant natural energies. It resembled a kind of spiritual liquid, either in liquid form or misty gaseous form. Immortal class pills were already quite mysterious, indistinguishable from humans, but sacred class pills were entirely different. Once refined, they possessed intelligence and combat prowess equivalent to an 8-star Dosien. If not carefully controlled and their spiritual consciousness eliminated during the process, refining them could cause tremendous trouble. Thus, sacred aura came into being. The presence of sacred aura was a critical step in the process of turning sacred class pill ingredients into pills. Since sacred class pills were so complex, they needed to be infused with sacred aura, creating a bond between the pill and the alchemist, greatly improving the chances of successful refinement. It could be said without hesitation that a pill refined with sacred aura was entirely different from one without. With this, I can now confidently attempt refining an 8th grade sacred class mystic tier pill. Xiaoyan grinned, preparing for the challenge. In the next moment, His eyes gleamed with ecstatic joy, and with the protection of his flame barrier, he shot down toward the sludge below. Whoosh! A chilling sensation surged from the outside in, even piercing through the sacred flame barrier and chilling Xiaoyan's skin. Thankfully, the protection of Baxia's half-dragon transformation is here. Baxia, being a peak-tier water system expert, finds this power trivial. Xiaoyan shook his head and smiled. However, without Baxia's power, this journey would have been far from easy. Crack! In a flash, Xiaoyan leaped swiftly and dove directly into the sludge, wrapping the entire mass in sacred flame and swiftly retreating from the area. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The sludge, about the size of several meters, exploded with a terrifying roar the moment Xiaoyan gripped it. The entire mass turned into a pool of black, murky water, as if something horrifying was about to emerge. Stop wasting time. Spill out the sacred aura. Xiaoyan knew the sludge had a form of spiritual consciousness. The weak gap at the bottom of the spirit sea allowed the sludge to continuously absorb boundless energy. Even Xiaoyan felt a shudder, so he immediately ripped it from the ground, forcing it out. Whoosh! With the energy gap under Xiaoyan's control and the immense power of Baxia in his body, the sludge reluctantly expelled a stream of yellow gas. As expected, its sacred aura. The yellow gas appeared as a hazy, mysterious mist. Xiaoyan carefully stored it in 3 high-quality jade bottles and clapped his hands in delight. You've made the right choice. Seeing how hard you've cultivated, I'll spare you. After saying that, Xiaoyan, with 3 bottles of sacred aura in hand, slowly left the area, following the guidance of the sacred class pill formula towards the final ingredient location in the heart of the spirit sea. In an instant, the bottom of the spirit sea returned to calm, and the sludge returned to its previous resting spot at the sea's bottom, continuing to absorb endless energy. Soon, it would likely fully take shape. The sacred class pill formula, now. I'm just missing the final ingredient, the ghost snake swallowing heaven grass. Xiaoyan stored the sacred aura carefully and then swiftly headed toward the spirit sea. Along the way, he noticed that some of the isolated spaces within the sea had already been stripped of their medicinal herbs. It seemed that while he was battling the Icefire evil dragon below, many powerful figures were also busy. They had gathered all the herbs, and now they were likely heading toward the 10 spirit gathering peaks. I have to speed up. I hope I won't be that unlucky. Xiaoyan couldn't help but feel a bit anxious. With only 10 spirit gathering peaks, the true key players in this grand ceremony were probably just 10 people. Once someone occupied a peak to refine pills, they couldn't be forced out. This had Xiaoyan worried. This is it. 5 minutes later, Xiaoyan reached the position about 800 meters below the spirit sea, his gaze locking onto the medicinal herbs standing quietly in an isolated small space, separated from the seawater. He couldn't help but feel relieved. Come to me. Xiaoyan's seemingly overwhelming power did not stir any ripples, and the nether snake swallowing heaven grass, protected by the force of space, remained motionless. Strange, what's going on? Seeing the situation was off, Xiaoyan immediately became puzzled and couldn't help but approach. The nether snake swallowing heaven grass, as he got closer, revealed itself to be a small snake entirely covered in green, seemingly alive, vivid, and lifelike. The snake coiled around a plant with 9 green leaves, quietly lying still, appearing quite unusual. Soul power. Xiaoyan did not want to waste time, so he suppressed his doubts and gathered his soul power within, continuously attacking the plant. After a brief moment, the herb still remained unmoved, as if it completely ignored Xiaoyan. What is going on? Xiaoyan refused to give up. He used flames, sacred flame, soul power, mental energy, and everything else, but no matter what he did, he couldn't shake the herb, not even with the brute force of dragon god transformation. Quasi-sacred class pill. The name and effects of the pill can only be revealed when the necessary materials are gathered. The required materials for refining are, among them, the nether snake swallowing heaven grass is the core material. No matter how stubborn the force, it cannot be taken. Only beings of the snake clan can use their blood essence to nourish it, thus shaking it. Xiao Yin once again took out the old, yellowed recipe scroll. Upon a closer look, he noticed that some tiny words had appeared. Strange. I knew there was something off about this recipe back then. But this recipe seems to be for a pill exclusive to serpent creatures? Xiao Yin had an idea in his mind, but remained doubtful. Here we go. Xiao Yin temporarily pushed aside all the distractions in his mind. With a flick of his finger, a sharp air blade cut across it, and a drop of blood oozed out, crimson and bright. However, within the seemingly red blood, there was a faint hint of multicolored light. Though dim, the seven-colored glow was real. When the blood touched the nether snake swallowing heaven grass, the void wriggled and cracks appeared. The blood instantly transformed into a tiny snake glowing with multicolored power, which began to bite at the herb. Finally got it. Now, I must hurry to compete for the Spirit Gathering Peak. Although I don't know what the Spirit Gathering Peak does, with 1,000 participants and only 10 peaks, it must have some unique power. Xiao Yin carefully stored the herb and immediately left the Spirit Sea, heading toward the Spirit Valley. However, along the way, he found that Ling Zishi and the others had already disappeared without a trace.